Can you guys see me? Okay, wow, it's working. 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 Okay, wow, it's Okay, I should mute this. Oh, who's Hey guys, are people watching? Um, Looks like we have people watching already. That's a huge surprise. So, where should I start? I'm so excited to see you guys today. So, my Twitch channel name is Jackie in Alaska, but I haven't moved to Alaska yet. But I figured it's never too early to start streaming. While I'm definitely planning on uploading a lot of Alaska and outdoors related content in the future. I'm still a big nerd at heart, and I want to share with you guys um, one of the most amazing games that's really dear to my heart. So, when people say to be a good Twitch streamer, one is you should be entertaining, which I know I am, and two, you should be good at a certain game. And I thought, like, oh, I'm not like, I love playing games, but I'm not necessarily the best at any of them. Um, yeah, that's just the way it is. But I thought about it some more and I realized that's actually not true. I'm actually the best at this really special and old game from Japan. It's actually older than me, called Princess Maker 2. And if you haven't heard about it before, I'm going to share with you just some clips. So it's just this little neat strategy simulation game from 1993 where you get to raise a daughter, right? So here's her when she's young and when she grows up. Um, Looks like this guy put her in the devil dress, but I don't know where he's going with that. But you get to watch her and like help her grow. And I don't know about you guys, but I love it because it's really cute. It's really girly. And there's actually a lot of RPG elements. So you want to control your daughter's stats to make her grow up the right way. And depending on what you choose in terms of your jobs and your school and other things, you can either grow up to be a lot of different, grow up and enter a lot of different professions. So it's just Princess Maker, and like the best ending, which I'm gonna show you guys how to do, is to make her a queen. But you can make her a lot of other things, like she can be the prime minister, a judge, a farmer. There's actually dozens of endings. Um, there's like there's like 100 endings you can get, and with their own unique story. And I guess if you raise her like really poorly, she's gonna like end up being a streetwalker. That's actually kind of hard to get, so I don't have to be doing it on purpose to do something like that. But I love it because you have your dress up, you have your RPG, you have your life simulation, and the graphics are really cute. They've held up really well. I know a new version came out for the PC. So Princess Maker 2 Refined had some updated graphics, and that was released a couple of years ago, or like it was translated in English and released on Steam a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, I play on a Mac, and I don't. Uh, I play on a Mac, and I don't have a really have access to a PC, so I can't play it. But the original graphics are still super cute. They've held up really well. Um, like it's just really, high quality vintage sprite work. So you're not really missing much by not playing the new version. Also, uh, the original version that people play for the English translation on DOS is actually much better. The company that translated it had some financial issues, and they couldn't purpose like fully translate everything. But the game is like 95 to like 98% translated. So that's a little unfortunate, but they have like a really lovely translation. I think the one on Steam, it was translated by people who aren't as familiar with English. Like English is their second language, so it's fine. You can use it, but it's just not like what I think a high quality localization would look like. So I think it's perfectly fine to just stick with the original um, DOS version. So that's what I'm going to show you guys today. And I'm just going to provide an overview of I'm providing an overview of what a game is and going over the mechanics. It can be pretty obtuse, right? But I'm actually, I could consider myself a pretty big expert in this game. So I actually have a guide on GameFAQs, very retro, and it's actually the biggest one. So if you go down here and you go to the guide by Rayquaza Star, it's actually misspelled because I was 8 years old when I made that username. You go here. This is my guide. I found, I played this game for a long time, but I wasn't really feeling satisfied with the endings I got, or like what felt like I would make her a super cool fighter and she'd win the fighting tournament a bunch and still end up being a homemaker. And I was like, oh, why is that? And I actually found out the reason why after looking at this Japanese guide, and I was like, I want to learn everything about this game. So I went ahead and read all of that, using Google Translate and the Japanese dictionary. I translated this so that everyone can enjoy. So I think this is pretty much everything you need to know to play the game. So there's definitely spoilers here. Like I think it's great to play this game blind. I didn't really do that, and I kind of regret it. But this is like basically covers all the mechanics. So if you want to not be spoiled, please don't watch this stream. This is a Let's Play, and we're basically going through everything you need to get to the top, get to the best ending, the queen ending, and actually be a good queen. Yeah, so I want to do some more streams where players can give inputs on how to raise uh, our daughter in the future, but right now I'm just doing this as kind of a walkthrough Let's Play stream. And it's gonna be published on YouTube, so if you want to refer to that, it's basically I'm just gonna go over everything, all the information that's in here in video format. I know some people prefer it. Hello, Angel's Voice. I'm so glad you could join me today. Are you, you know, I wondered like, are people finding me through the Princess Maker 2 category on Twitch? Because it actually has quite a decent amount of followers, which is a really big surprise because I love this game so much, and I just played it for a long time. I discovered it in the fall of 2009, and I was just hooked, and I've been playing it off and on since then. Like, I don't play it every day. That would be like, I don't play it every day. That would be pretty ridiculous. But it's like something like I'll come back to like every couple of months, and like it's gonna be here. There's so many endings, so it's like very flexible what you can do. So, but if you ever want to refer to any information, please check out my guide on GameFAQs. It's a strategy guide by Rayquaza Star, like the Pokemon. Is everything you need to play this game successfully. So, okay, so now let's move on. Okay, yeah, so let's move on and let's go ahead and start the game. Yes, I'm going to be playing the game this stream. I'm just giving an overview to just introduce myself and my guide. But yes, I'm going to switch to this. So, without further ado, let's open up DOSBox. So I use Boxer for Mac. I don't know how you guys played this game. Do you guys play it on DOS, or do you guys play it on Steam, the refined version, or something else? You should let me know. But I play this on Boxer, which is the DOS app for Mac I've been using. And I think, but recently, if you're not familiar with Mac just updated so that you can only use 64-bit apps. I'm not sure why they did that. I guess they just don't want to deal with those old 32-bit apps anymore. So I had to find a new version of Boxer. But it seems to be working. So let's go ahead and begin a new game. So I'm gonna name my daughter Olive Oil. So Olive Oil, that's gonna be the dad's name. And Olive. I think Popeye is, or has been pretty popular in Japan. Can you guys hear me? I've been trying. Okay, thanks, Jess in California. Yeah, I don't know. I want to play the Steam version. I kind of like the achievements, and they also have all the endings translated, which is nice. So I've been working on the sound mixing. This is my first time doing a stream with sound. Okay, just wanted to make sure because I was like messing around with that for half an hour. Okay, I'm so glad you guys can hear me. So this is Olive Oil. I think that's basically her canon name. I didn't know Popeye was popular in Japan, but I guess that's not really a surprise. Because people like Betty Boop have been popular in Japan, and she really influenced anime. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go with this. I'm gonna go with April 2nd. That's her canon birthday, and I think that's a pretty good place to start. because she'll have a lot of constitution, and you can start working her without worrying about her getting sick. Another good place to consider is um, October 1st. That way the Harvest Festival is in October, but if you if she has an October 1st birthday, you can start working during the month of October, and you have an entire year to prepare for the Harvest Festival. I don't think you need to necessarily do that to get the good queen ending. I'm just gonna go. Okay, I'll just go with April 1st. So you can put your age. It doesn't. This has no effect on the game. It really doesn't. 30 is a good age. Okay, if your relationship with your daughter is high enough, she'll bake you a cake for your birthday. Otherwise, this doesn't have an effect on the game. While I like getting a high relationship with my daughter, it's kind of hard to do that and get a good score, so I just kind of avoid it. Like, you can do that if you want. You know, it's kind of creepy because this is like a Japanese, you know, kind of a weird Japanese game. Is that if your relationship with your daughter is high enough, she can marry you. It's okay because you're not. As you'll see, you're not actually related, but I think you have to try pretty hard to make that happen. So I don't know. We'll see if she ever bakes a cake for me. I'd love to see it, but I'd rather make her the ruling queen. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And your blood type. So if you didn't know, blood type is a pretty big deal in Japan. It's like their version of astrology, and people think your blood type really influences your personality. So if you pick A, you're gonna get more morals, but you'll also have more stress per month. Keep in mind, it's only like +2 morals and +2 stress. This is a good way to metagame, so I'm gonna pick this. But the thing is that because she's always a little bit stressed, you're never gonna see her with like the big smile. But we're gonna pick A because to be a good ruling queen, you need a lot of morality, and having that, you know, be a part of her nature is just gonna make the process easier because it's a little hard to raise your morals otherwise. B means you get 2 less stress per month. I don't think it's that useful. It's pretty easy to get rid of stress in this game, so I wouldn't really worry about it. Sometimes I'll pick this just for fun. Nothing happens, and AB is +2 sensitivity. There's not really a drawback, except, as I'll explain later, you don't want your sensitivity to be too high. I think this is fine. I think I'd rather have this AB over O, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick A. I think A is the best blood type because that's actually my blood type, you know, what a coincidence. And A is Olive Oil's blood type. So, let's get started with the story. And here we have a really dramatic introduction. It doesn't seem like this town is doing really well, so looks like the guy is sending the Prince of Darkness to attack the world of mortals. Oh, let's see what's happening. So, wow, it's a guy who looks like the devil, and he's attacking the town. How terrible. But I guess they deserve it, because it seems like the townspeople are jerks. Uh-oh, but what's gonna happen now? Ooh, a wandering swordsman is saving the city. He's fighting. Oh, you have beaten me. That's a surprise. So, I guess Oil maybe thinks he's a point. But then the devil, he runs away like a big fat coward. look, the king is going to reward the guy for saving the city. Okay. Oh, Princess Maker 5 seems like an interesting game. It's set in the real world, right? But I haven't had a chance to play it. Is it available on Steam? I'm not really sure how people have played it. Like, I know it was available. It's been people have played it for a while, but it doesn't have a translation. And look, this is Olive Guardian Mars. He's pretty handsome, right? And wow, he has a lot of instructions for you. He wants you to raise her, but in a way that he approves of. So he's going to be judging you. And yeah, you want to keep her alive. I don't think it's... You can kill her in this game, but you have to try pretty hard to do something like that. I don't know why you would want to. That's pretty mean. But I guess there's a lot of things, you know, it's a simulation, so there's a lot of things you can do. So, welcome to the world of Princess Maker. Here's olive oil. You know, what a cute little girl. And now we have to decide on her schedule, so... let me go over... everything in the menu. There's a lot to do, and like it can be a little overwhelming to start out, but so here's your age, here's the gold, so you get 500 gold per year. I think that's really low because I don't know, like you save the city, but the king just doesn't want to give you a lot, like, you know, he's just really cheapening out, and I guess you're a bum who doesn't work, so all of your income comes from your daughter working, right? And you can equip weapon and armor here, so let's go here, and these are any status conditions. Usually they're bad, and you kind of don't want to get those, but I'll let you know. I'll explain them if any come up. I'm trying to avoid those, so let's go over stats. So like I said, Princess Maker 2 has a lot of RPG elements. And so let's go over her stats first. So these are really important. I mean, these are all like kind of important, but these are going to affect your gameplay the most. So your constitution, that basically represents how tough you are. Basically, you want to get this pretty high at the start, because if your constitution is too low, you're not going to be able to work a lot. Like, you're going to get sick, and then, I don't know, if you keep working, then you're going to die, right? So you don't want that. You can just always avoid being, you'll never be sick as long as you keep your constitution more than your stress, right? So the more stressed you are, the less energy you have, but the more constitution you have, the more you can work. Also, when you're adventuring or fighting other people, the more constitution you have, the more HP you will have. I think it's pretty easy to but you don't have to worry about it too much. It's pretty easy to win the battles in this game. I guess you're just naturally gifted at fighting. Strength, that's not really important. The more strength you have, the more your combat attack will go up, but for every 10 points of strength you have, your combat attack will go up. But it's not really worth that much. If your strength goes down, your combat attack will go down too. but I just wouldn't really worry about it. It's pretty easy and cheap to raise your combat attack on your own, so it's not something you really need to care about. Intelligence. So what this does is, this is mostly used for your MP if you're a mage. If you're a fighter, then you don't have to worry about it. Refinement. This doesn't do very much, but you need a lot to become the queen. Otherwise, you'll just be the prime minister if you don't have enough refinement. But if you don't care about being queen, you don't really have to worry about it. Charisma. That's a euphemism. It's better translated as your sex appeal, so it's how pretty you are. You don't need it, but it's good to have. Yeah, there's like certain things you can only achieve by having a high charisma. Okay, yeah. Morality, you don't. So morality and faith, you need these, or otherwise you're gonna become delinquent and you will stop working. I had that problem so many times starting out where like I would be working a lot and I wouldn't be getting sick because my constitution was high, but then I would become delinquent and I just wouldn't want to work. And I was like, it's kind of hard to get out of that. And I was like, what's wrong? Like, and if you're not working, you're not making money, your stats aren't going up, and you're just wasting time. But you only need one of these to be high, and it's just easier to raise your faith. So you can have like, if your faith is pretty high and you have 0 morals, you won't be delinquent. Just keep your stress under either of these two. Sin. This is what you get for doing bad things. Like if you kill people, you'll get some. And if you work the like mature jobs that you get when you're older, you get a lot. But it's pretty easy to get rid of. Like if you go to church, it'll go down pretty quickly. You can also make a donation if you really want to. I don't usually worry about this too much, but if it's like too high, you might end up getting in trouble. But you have to get it like really high for that to happen. But I just don't want to be high because it will lower your score. So try to get it back to 0 by the end of the game. Otherwise, like, I don't think it should affect your gameplay. And then sensitivity. This is good for being an artist. You want a high sensitivity for the art competition. You can do some things if you have high sensitivity, like if you're adventuring and you're walking around, you'll find stuff on the floor, you can talk to fairies. So I'll go over that when we're adventuring. But you don't want it to be too high. If your sensitivity is your highest stat, then you're gonna run away and all your reputations will decrease and they're really hard to get back up. So I think you want to avoid that. But as long as you have like any stat is like 1 point higher, you will never run away. So it's just a matter of like, so just to make things simple, like I usually like that Constitution as my highest stat. Okay, yeah. So also, if your Constitution is too low, like you're not gonna do a good job at your work. So you want to keep your Constitution high so that you can do a good job at your work and you'll make more money. You have money to spend on expensive things like glasses and armor. And the more you work at your job and the more days you successfully complete, the higher a bonus you will get. So, that's why it's just Constitution is the best set to have. There's no drawbacks. You're just like gonna be a tough girl and like you can work hard. So I think I'm gonna try to get this to at least 300 or 400. I don't think you need to get it any higher than that. So does that all make sense? You guys have any questions? And Angel's Voice, it's really good to hear that Princess Maker 5 is translated on Steam. I think I will check that out. Because it seemed interesting, like it's set in the real world, and there's a lot of endings, so very cool. Thanks for letting me know. So does that all make sense? If you guys have any questions, let me know. So now going back onto your combats. So you can fight people in this game. It's usually pretty easy to win, and like after a certain point, like you basically never lose. But just keeping these in mind, combat skill is probably the most important. The more combat skill you have, the greater chance you will have to hit and avoid people. So you can just beat people by not being hit if your combat skill is high enough. Combat attack, that's how hard you hit. This is pretty easy to raise. I don't really... Once you start training them, it's like, you don't have to worry about it too much. They're pretty cheap to raise using classes. Combat defense, you don't really need a ton of this. As long as you have some decent armor and you have high combat skill, you're always going to be dodging their attacks. So, I don't know. I don't know why, unless you want to beat the War God, I don't think we're going to do that. Like, you don't really need to worry about this. Magical skill, that's similar. That's how much you dodge people's magic and how much you hit, but there are not, like, very many magic users in the game, so I don't think you even have to worry about that if you don't want to. We're gonna have to raise it to become queen. Magical attack, that's pretty self-explanatory, and magical defense, I just don't really worry about this at all. Like I said, there's, like, very few magic users, and they're all pretty weak, and, like, if you have a good sword, you'll beat them pretty easily. Decorum, this is pretty useless, but it's part of your social reputation. I'll go over that in a bit. Art, it's pretty straightforward to raise if you take a bunch of painting classes, and pretty quickly, after a couple months, once your art gets 100, you'll be able to produce a wonderful painting, and that's a great way of making income through the art contest. So definitely a great thing to invest in a playthrough. Conversation, this is pretty useless, but again, that's part of your social reputation, so if you want to get a high social reputation, which you need to become queen, you do want to raise this, so we'll have to raise all of these. And these are all useless, except for the cooking. Cooking is used in the cooking contest. That's a great way of making money at the start, so that's what we're going to be doing soon. And here's your reputations. So your fighter reputation is the sum of all of these. Magic is the sum of the magic ones. Magic skills. Social is decorum, art, and conversation, and housework is the rest. And these affect what endings you get. So you need 320 in all of these to become queen. Or actually higher than 320, so you need 321, and the difference between them can't be too great, otherwise you're going to get something else. So, if your housework reputation, I think what you need to keep in mind is you don't want your housework reputation to get too high. It's really easy to do that through the cooking contest, and then, like, if it's too high, you're always going to get a housework ending, no matter what. Like, even if you're, like, super strong, like, you beat the War God or whatever, like, so, there's, like, endings for, like, fighter, magical, social, and housework, but, there's also endings if your stats are pretty balanced, so, you could be queen, if you're balanced, then you might be queen, a farmer, it really depends. But these are the main things that determine what ending you get, unless you're pretty simple and you have low morals, and then you'll just get a bad ending. Okay, can we move on? Okay, I think that was a lot, but that's just what you want to keep in mind when aiming to be queen. Here you can talk with your daughter. Scold is if you're delinquent. I try not to be delinquent, so I don't really need that. Pocket money, that can help reduce stress. We don't need that right now because we just started, so let's talk with her. How is she doing? I wonder what kind of person my mother was. I don't know, maybe you just didn't have a mom, you know? Here's your diet. Usually I just keep it normal. A robust diet, that will increase your constitution, but it's more expensive and you'll gain weight. And if your weight is too high, your charisma is going to go down. And you want to avoid that because it's really hard to get your charisma back up once you lost it to being overweight. So I don't know. I think we're just gonna stick with normal for like now. And maybe if I really want to, I'll change it. Slim down and weight loss. These are cheaper and you will lose weight, but it's not a lot and you'll also lose constitution. So we really want to avoid that. So I just usually do normal because that doesn't affect your constitution. Here's your stats. It's pretty normal. You can see your daughter's measurements if you are really into that kind of thing. Okay, here's our inventory. It can hold up to 50 items. You probably won't have a full inventory unless you try to do it on purpose, so you don't have to worry about that. Here's the palace. I don't really use this. So you can talk with the people here, but they're kind of snooty and you need a high decorum. And the reward, like, you can go keep talking with them, but the reward isn't that great. Like, you get a discount, but money usually isn't a problem for me, so it's just not worth my time. I don't think we're going to be talking to anyone in this playthrough unless you are really into that. So right now we can only talk to the palace guard because our etiquette isn't high enough. Like I said, they're a bunch of snobs. I don't think they've changed their ways. Like, says becoming my friend is hardly an earth-shaking event, and I would say he's right. And he likes refinement, so the more refinement you have, the more your popularity will go up with him. Right now we don't have a lot, so I guess we're not good enough. I don't think I'm gonna do that a lot. It's just not really worth it, in my opinion. Like, it's just not worth the time. And the discount you get from having a ton of popularity, you can get like 1,000. It's pretty minimal. And you have to go maybe every month to get that. So you can do it if you want. It's just, I just find it too grindy for me. Okay, let's go to the town. So here we have a couple of things. Armor. You can buy your armors and weapons. Right now, we don't need anything. Healer. Okay, at the start of the game, you want to buy a summer and winter dress just to get that out of the way. Because if a heat storm comes during the summer or a snowstorm during the winter comes and you don't have these dresses, like the respective dress, then your constitution will decrease by a certain amount. It's a pretty large chunk of constitution. So I would really want to avoid that because there's just no reason to lose that much constitution for no reason. And if you want to go to the dance, you can buy a dress. Some of the dresses have weight requirements. That's why another reason to keep your weight down. Some of them are really strict, and they affect your stats. So if you just want to get some more refinement, you can do that. Restaurants, you can lower your stress this way, but you gain weight, and like I just don't think it's really necessary. I don't really use this. If you guys enjoy using the restaurant, you should let me know. I just want to avoid weight gain because this game punishes you a lot for that. Maybe it's like, you know, in real life, right? Especially in Japan, I heard they're pretty big on like calling you out if they think you look fat. So, I don't know. I didn't come up with this game. I didn't come up with the mechanics. So, I think it's good to keep your weight down in this game. On shop, you can buy some items. Oh, I like the doll. I mean, I think this is a better way of reducing stress than going to the restaurant. But like, you can only carry 50 items, so usually I'll get a doll for my birthday to keep my stress down. I don't want to like go here all the time, so I'm only gonna buy items here for birthdays. Like these you don't really need if you are leveled up recently, so yeah, I would just avoid that. You can sell things that you don't need here. Church, you can make a donation if you want to lower your sin. It's like 100 gold for 10 sin. I don't think it's really necessary, but sometimes you don't want to spend time working at church, and you can just come here instead. I just don't really feel like you need to bother with this, unfortunately. Like, a lot of these things are kind of useless. In the hospital, only if you're sick. I've never done this unless, like, I was trying to kill it on purpose. Like, there's just no reason for you to get sick. It's pretty easy at this point. Okay, so now let's just go look at the schedule. This will be the last part of my stream for today. So you're gonna start off, and you have 6 options for working. You'll get more as you get older. So usually what I like to start off is by sending her to the farm. This will get your constitution up, and it lowers your refinement. But that's not a big deal because at this age you're not really refined yet. I don't know anyone who is. And it's, like I said, it's really important to get your constitution out. So I would hit this. Then you also want to think about doing housework. This will help increase your cleaning so that you can, or your cooking so that you can win the cooking contest. Being a babysitter increases your sensitivity. It lowers your charisma, but that's fine because little kids just aren't that charismatic anyways. So you want to do this while you're young. You need to increase your sensitivity, otherwise you can't win the cooking contest. So I'm gonna try to do these before I'm gonna do these before I enter the cooking contest, and then that way you can start getting a decent amount of money in. Babysitting is actually a pretty stressful job. You don't want to do it all the time, and it doesn't pay well, but it's like the only good way of getting your sensitivity up before you get money. Church, this raises your faith and morality. We're going to be going a lot here so we can have a nice moral queen. It's not very stressful at all, and also takes away your sins. So I use this job a lot during my playthroughs, especially when you raise up your stats and you don't want to lower anything. This just has a lot of pluses. There's really not a negative other than it doesn't pay well. But if you have but later in the game, we're gonna be fine with money, so we're gonna be here a lot. In a restaurant, I never use these. I don't really see a point. So, as you get older, we're gonna have more options come up. Some of the jobs are good and some aren't, so I'll let you know during my playthrough what's worth working at. School. So these are 30 gold a day, and you can see that's a problem because they're gonna last for like 10 days, and then we're gonna be out of gold. So you need a lot of money to be able to afford these. I'll just say there's just a couple of them that I use a lot. Science gets your intelligence up by a lot. It's the fastest way of raising a stat if you have the money. You can get like up to, at later levels, you can get up to 8 points of intelligence a day. It's crazy, but you also, but keep in mind, as you advance, you have to pay more, so you really want to have a lot of money before you start participating in these classes. Otherwise, it's going to be embarrassing that like you ran out of money because you can't pay, and then like you want everything to eat for the next month until you get more money. Fencing and fighting, you need these to raise your combat reputation. They're pretty cheap and you'll be done with them pretty quickly. Magic, you're gonna have to raise that too. Protocol, you need a buttload of etiquette or refinement to become queen. So we're gonna be here a lot. Painting, this is good. You can raise your art skill pretty quickly, and then you'll paint a painting, and that can be entered into the art competition year after year to make you, which is actually a great way of making some money if you can afford the startup costs. And then you can see the painting you paint. You can see it over here in the frame. Adventure, you can go on an adventure. This takes the most time. You can break the game pretty easily, but I don't think we're gonna start adventuring until we get to age 14. I think that's a good age to start adventuring. I think too soon. I think that just kind of, you can save scum and like really break the game, but I want to play this game in a fair way, so I think 14 is fair. And then time off. There's two types of time off. There's free time. And you can choose to give her some pocket money, and I think that takes a lot of stress off. That's a great way of managing your time. The only problem is it lowers the reputation, your relationship value with your father. But it's not really, that doesn't have a lot of effect on the game. So if you want to be queen and be a good queen, you have to, you really have to go for it. And this is the best way of relaxing. Vacation, that doesn't reduce your stress as much, and it's more expensive. So, but I do that sometimes. You get some small bonuses, like you can get your if you go to the mountains, you can get your sensitivity up, and if you go during the beach in the summer, your weight will go down. So I think that's the best way of managing your weight and avoiding being overweight in this game. And because like I said, weight management is actually important to succeed in this game. So yeah, so there you have it. That's basically an overview of the mechanics of Princess Maker 2. what you need to succeed as a queen or not. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna be streaming more of this in the future. I'm gonna be going through a playthrough to show you how to become a queen. Um, without a ton of worrying. So if you're interested in that, please follow me. I'd love to see you back in my journey of making Olive Oyl the best queen she can be and living up to this game's name. So yeah, if you're curious about that, come back later and I'd love to see you back. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate everyone's support. And I think that will be it for today. So have a good rest of the day wherever you're from. All right, I will see you guys later. Bye.